right here. Turmeric, ginger, live probiotics. I love stuff that's good for my guts. Hey, what's up, you guys? How you doing? Jake Steele, welcome to the channel. I'm gonna show you what I did this week.
Is everything okay? I thought you know it all, but why you always try to pretend little come of you, my friend, my friend. Where will you sleep tonight? Bloodstained across as you twist and turn. I know you always win the fight.
So, it was a busy freaking week. I took on a lot of work, a lot of big projects, and just super grateful to be sitting here at the end of the week, feeling successful, feeling good about things. Overcame a lot of hardships during the coronavirus, and from the look of things, who really knows what's going on moving forward, but I'm just trying to keep a positive head and to keep grinding. And I've expanded a lot of stuff at my home office to continue to work behind the scenes just in case we do get another lockdown. So I had my dude Phil drive all the way down from Pittsburgh so I could do a full back tattoo on him. Now the stencil process is very in-depth. I have to use my iPad and Procreate, the file program that I use, to get the correct measurements. Next comes the line work. Now, applying the stencil correctly and doing the lines of a full back piece is an 8 to 9 hour job, depending on how fast you go or what your process is. So I spent that whole day working on my iPad, printing things out, making sure that the stencil fit the back. Now, it might seem simple, but there are specific proportions you have to follow for this type of job. It is mentally exhausting. It's draining for both me and my client. For the client, it's a lot of pain. It's a lot of bizarre positions that you have to be seated in to correctly stretch the skin. For me, it's 8 hours of standing up, sitting down, standing up again, sitting down, stretching with this hand, hunching over, and constantly being cognizant of where my needle is on the skin. So this level of focus is very draining and it's very difficult. But if done correctly and with enough practice, it could be excellent and fun. It's just like a sport, honestly. If you go to the gym and you train for your sport, by the time you play the game, you're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna push yourself, but you're gonna enjoy. So tattooing is a lot like that. So I'm printing out the individual sheets to make this back piece. I'm gonna need to do 4 printouts, and I'm using my brother's stencil printer that's compatible with my iPad. And so I just have a little app that I go in and I take my image directly from Procreate. I load it into the Brother app, and you have to flip the image before you print it out. For a project like this, I break it into 4 panels, and then I assemble it after it's all printed out. I was skeptical at this thing at first. When I use it, I was like, I don't know. I'm confused. This is a piece of technology I have never heard of. I don't trust it. But then I say, you know what? I'm going to need one to travel, to try to do conventions and for, other close quarters events. So I'm going to try it. I was able to print out a full back with my iPad and this printer and stencil it in like 25 minutes. I was like, okay, I'm hooked. So I'm a huge fan of it. So what I'm doing now is assembling those sheets and cutting the remaining sections off, because you want it to fit like a glove You want your stencil to be glove-like. So I'm actually laying it out on my measurements that I took of his back on this parchment paper, so everything fits and lines up. I tape it up and there it is. Now I have to go put this thing on. So I'm doing the stencil with Nico's Anchored. I love Nico's Anchored, and I love Black Anchor, and thank you for doing what you do, Mr. Hurtado. I appreciate you. This is me and our apprentice Sam putting the stencil on. So it's a team effort most of the times. It's a big space. After I get the stencil on, I start my line work. So I usually start at the top and work my way down. Sometimes, depending on the person, you want to start at the bottom and work your way up. But in this case, I knew he'd been traveling and he was tired, so I figured I'd start him in the sitting position. So, from the beginning of the week, I was drawing on this design, and I was nervous as hell because I knew he was driving down. So it was just like added pressure to the whole process. So in my mind, I was just like, oh my god, I hope he likes it. And then when he got there, he loved the design. So, not only did I do the full back, 2 days later, I got the chance and the privilege to work on one of my flash designs. Now, I'm a big nerd. Anything Disney, anything Largo, anything Cartoon Network, video game related, I love it. Usually, even if I don't know of it, I still love it anyway because I appreciate the artwork. Growing up, I always strive to be a fan artist, and I always learned by mimicking people that were better than me and mimicking styles that I enjoyed myself. I figure if I'm gonna spend all this time at work, I'm gonna at least spend it in an environment that I love and a profession that I absolutely adore. So it's a combination of my passion and my client's energy that keeps me moving forward, and I am absolutely humbled when a client asks me to get one of my own designs on them. So this one went pretty quick. I already had the design and the color scheme in mind, so when the client came in, all there was left was just to execute the tattoo and carry on my merry way. So my client came to me asking about another cartoon-oriented piece. Okay guys, I love it when you come to me to get my cartoon style. Please, come get the cartoon style. Either that or some realism. I'll always be passionate about realism. I love it. I'll do lettering sometimes. I'll do small tattoos. I like doing dot work shading tattoos as well. So that changes as you progress. You're always going to be innovating, and you're always going to be seeing what the trend is, and not necessarily jumping towards the trend, but maybe sprinkling a little bit of that on your current style, just to help you grow and evolve as an artist, and to stay busy. Let's face it, folks, if you do not please the consumers, and if you do not take those opinions into account, you will suffer in your art business. So, what was popular in 1990, besides Nickelodeon and Pokemon, that's always going to be my favorite, it's always going to be successful. But besides the few niche-y things that stand the test of time, we want to make sure our art and our tattoos stand the test of time. because every couple years a new trend's gonna come along, a new Pinterest trend, a new celebrity trend, and people are gonna get these tattoos thinking, oh my gosh, this is what I want, it's gonna last forever, and then you end up 20 years later with a tribal tramp stamp. You don't want that. So you wanna make sure what you're getting as a client is worthwhile and is gonna last you the test of time. Now this was a super cool experience. I draw everything out on Procreate, and I always want to change it, especially when I'm doing cartoon or realism. It's easy to get caught up in copying the image exactly, but I just feel like it's not enough and it takes away from the character of the piece. When you can add your own spin on things, it will significantly increase the value of your work. So we went down to the Keys, and I got on this boat. At first I was having a great time. Then I went diving with Nicole and her family. Not diving, snorkeling. I am not cool enough to dive yet, believe me. And went out in the ocean. I swam really deep and I just felt my ears explode. And there's a trick that you have to equalize and blow pressure, and it pops your ears so you don't explode underwater. And I guess I went too deep, too fast, and didn't equalize correctly, and I got up, sat on the boat, and I was the sickest I've ever been. Thought I was definitely gonna vom.com for a while, but then it went away once we started moving. Coming from rural southwestern Pennsylvania, I never in my life thought I was gonna have the opportunity to do this stuff, and I couldn't be more thankful and blessed for the people in my life that allow me to do these things. There is nothing better than family. You could take away the career, you could take away the money, but when you have family backing you, that is number one. So I got to doing the tattoo, and I set up my liners. I have a tight 3 liner, a tight 7 liner, and a tight 11 from Quadrin. These are long taper 0.35 millimeter. So I spend a great deal of time on my line work, and I run my machine fairly slow, and I move slowly throughout the piece, alternating which liners I use with my cartridge tattoo setup. Now this is important. Without great lines, you don't have a great tattoo. You need something solid that is going to stand the test of time and is going to heal sharp and crisp and is going to age gracefully on the skin. This was a super painful area of the body, up on that collarbone and down by that nipple. It's crazy sensitive, and I feel like even though you're not tattooing the nipple, if you tattoo around it, it feels like you're directly scraping on nip. So be cognizant of that when you're tattooing people. This thing was saturated and fun with great colors. I always give my clients the opportunity to check out my color palette and to help make the choices before we tattoo them, just so they're 100% confident in their choices. This is my last tattoo of the week, and this was by far my favorite piece I've done this week. Sorry guys, don't judge me. I loved all the tattoos, but this was my favorite one. This is a brand new cartoon, podcast, Netflix original series, and my client Tyler came in and asked me to do this for him, and I was like, dude, yes. The color scheme, the psychedelic features, it got the mushrooms, clean cartoon style on the chest, nice flat canvas. He let me do my thing, which I'm grateful for. I love it when clients feed me the concept and let me continue with my own vision. Not stuck up about it. I just think it gives better artwork at the end. You know, I will make changes to the artwork, and I'll do whatever it takes to make my client happy and satisfied. But with that, I want to give as much creative feedback as I possibly can, just because they're coming to me commissioning a specific piece of art, and especially if it's something that I'm passionate about, like the cartoon or the realism stuff. I just have a better eye for placement and a better eye for what is going to be tattooable and what is going to be unrealistic to tattoo. So I want to make sure I communicate those things with the client before I start. I spent all week grinding on drawings, taking videos, trying to have a day or two of a break. And you know what? At the end of the day, I'm beat, but I'm happy. I just feel like I accomplished a lot of things. I have the best friends, clients, family members. I just have the best life. So I've been getting a lot of questions on how do you do your line work? What keeps your lines so clean? I'll tell you this, line work is not as simple as it seems. There's a lot that goes into it, but when you look at it, it just seems like, oh, look, lines. But I actually use a series of cartridges with different styles of liners. So I use a tight 3 from Quadrin, a tight 7 from Quadrin, and an 11 round liner to achieve 3 different line weights in my tattoos. I run my machine at 9.1 volts and I go relatively slow. The more you slow it down, the better you are. Keep that in mind. A lot of people try to rush through the line work. Please slow down. This is the most important part of the tattoo. This sets the foundation for the color and the shading. When you have solid line work, you've got a solid tattoo. Lines are gonna stand the test of time. They're always gonna spread a little bit due to the collagen and adipose tissue directly under the epidermis. Now I know that stuff sounds fancy, but it's just things you have to know when you're learning the tattoo. You have to learn the anatomy. You have to learn the different types of skin throughout the body. You have to practice. 10,000 hours is not enough. You have to learn, practice, learn, practice. And once you've achieved an accumulation of those experiences, then you will have your great line work. These are just the tools and the methods that I use to achieve it myself. It took me years to get this skill set, and it will take you years to get a skill set if you're just starting out. Well, that's it, guys. That wraps it up for me. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Smash that like button, share it with your friends, and stay tuned for more content.
Right there for you.